Welcome to another Codacy product showcase. As you know, in January, we presented some exciting platform innovations with Codacy Security and everything. And now we're back in Q2 with a new update on everything Codacy. So yeah, our team has been working on some really cool features that they want to show you today. You can see a few faces here in the panel. My name is Eloisa. I'm in the Codacy marketing team, and I have here with me our CEO, Jaime. We have our VP of technology, Kendrick Curtis, and our senior software engineer, Andre Meira. Just a quick introduction before we begin. We're going to go into the agenda, but before we go into this, just want to say that this is being recorded, so if you miss any part of the discussion, if you want to share it with your team, you're going to receive a recording in your email shortly. And yeah, feel free to participate in the conversation as we go through this webinar. The easiest way is here in the chat. I already see some people chatting. Feel free to say hi, comment, and share your thoughts on anything you see here today. If you have any questions that you want to ask our panelists, you can hit that Q&A button at the bottom. Any point during this webinar, if you have a question, just raise it in the Q&A, and we'll make sure to get to all of them at the end. So on the agenda today, we're going to start with some general, Codacy updates, how our platform has evolved in the past few months. And then we have in store a detailed security update with some live demos. And then wrapping it up with, what's next in our roadmap and some Q&A, like I said. Now I'd like to introduce Jaime, who'll get the product showcase started.
Hi, thank you, Eloisa. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We have some really exciting things to talk about today. As usual, I get the opportunity to talk a little bit about very high-level things and a general view of the company. We started a company 10 years ago, officially. And as we started a company, we were really a very specific tool to review code automatically. So we applied code analysis only for 5 programming languages. The team was small, very focused on those particular use cases. And as time passed, we, together with our customers, expanded the reach and number of use cases of our team. And so as we went through 2020 to 2023, we were beyond just one product, more than 40 programming languages supported, almost 1 million of developers using a platform, and 80 people. And so we've come a long way since the moment where we started the company, from becoming a small tool for a niche or a particular use case to what we are today. And so today we see ourselves as the toolbox where the needs that you have, whether they are quality, security, software engineering, performance, all these needs can be met. So we see ourselves as the only toolbox that your team needs, right? And so as a refresher of what the toolbox entails, and even before that, sorry, like a big thing that we've done this year is, as a reflection of this change in scope and purpose of our company, not only to our customers, but also to ourselves, we readjusted our mission. Today, we see ourselves as the enablers of making every line of code produced by our customers trustworthy for their customers, for your customers, right? We want to make sure that from a quality perspective and security perspective, everything builds trust. That's what we're all about, okay? And as a refresher of what we provide is we essentially have 4 main pillars of software solutions inside our platform. It starts with Codacy Quality. That's the first product we brought to market. It has the most amazing and the easiest to set up quality gates that helps you to standardize quality at scale for many teams, many developers, regardless of technology that you have. It's fully API driven. Everything that we do is API first, so we can call any part of that product and platform so you can use for your own use cases and dashboards. The second product we have here is Codacy Coverage, which really laser focuses its attention in terms of use case on unit test coverage, so that developers and teams that have requirements of unit test coverage within their teams can define rules and put the rules embedded into the workflow, so that you can have, for example, an 80% test coverage requirement within your organization. We brought also Codacy Pulse to market, which measures beyond just code, also our ability to create a healthy engineering culture by measuring the metrics that really matter for you, built on top of the DORA metrics. And most recently, is Codacy Security, which we'll give a special spotlight today in our session. And as a refresher, is a full 360 review of application security risk for your organization. So not only static code analysis, dynamic code analysis, secrets, many things are coming. We introduced a few other things already in the last showcase. We're really excited to bring you more innovation in this part. And as also a refresher, why these things matter is all about three particular use cases, or typically ways that we help our teams, is really finding and fixing coding issues early as we can find these issues, the better, because they don't affect production and they're easier to fix. We are fully embedded into the developer lifecycle, so that it's so much more easy to interact with our product because it's fully embedded into your GitHub, Bitbucket, or GitLab. But also, we help the organization at scale enforce standards so that we all row in the same direction, and that we create maintainable products that are easy to understand and read, which is really important because at the end of the day, humans create the products of the future. And last but not least, not only we're developer first, so everything that we do is really targeted to making developers' lives easier, but it's also API driven. Everything that we do is API first. We were in Developer Week, and so it's just to give you also some insights. We're in Developer Week in Oakland in February, which was an amazing conference. We met many of our customers there, showcased not only the toolbox, and got a great response of the things that we're building. And we had the opportunity to present the impact of AI in cybersecurity. So if you're interested, check our blog. We have that content and that presentation there. We also very happy to have helped on more than 100 hackathoners to use Codacy as in their project. So it was very, very positive conference. And as always, we like to give a special shout to our pioneers. And so we've recorded a number of videos with our pioneers. We're not going to pass them here because we don't have the time, but there's a number of very interesting videos that we had the opportunity to record with some of the people engaged in our program. As a refresher, the program is all about supporting open source developers and their mission and their projects. That's ultimately what we're all about, is empowering software development. So this has really been a special project for us. And so we record a number of very interesting spotlights from our pioneers. And so please do feel free to come to this codacy.com/pioneers, check the videos, get engaged, and give us feedback. Love to hear from you as well. And I think that's it from me. So thank you for coming. And now, Kendrick, we'd love to hear more from the innovation of our team. And you're muted.
Very professional. Hi, thank you everybody for coming. Welcome. I've got the sort of quick and easy job here again today to tell you about everything apart from security going on in the platform, and we'll hear from Andre a little later on security. So I've just got a quick little roundup here. So the first thing I want to talk about is our performance. I'll always talk to you about performance until we are happy that we are performing as well as possible. So let's take a look at our performance numbers. So I've showed this slide a few times now and showed it iterating all the way since we did the first one of these in June. And our numbers have just got better and better and better. When we started doing this, we weren't even measuring the number of analyses finishing in under a minute. Now we do that as well as our previous 5 and 15-minute scales. This is going to be the last time that we look at a slide like this because we are going to evolve it into something else. But just to see that basically everything continues to get better. But it's marginal gains now. We've got through the bulk of the best stuff, and we can see that a little bit better if we turn those numbers on their head, and instead of looking at the number of minutes a certain percentage of analyses finish in, if we look at the number of like the percentage of analyses that finish in a number of minutes. So you can see here, and thanks to the hard work done by a performance team, not only to improve performance, but also to do analysis monitoring better, we're starting to be able to segment this data better. So here we can talk to you about, for the first time, the differentiation between how well our pro accounts, pro and business tier accounts are performing versus open source. And you can see that by paying for Codacy, you get a much better experience. But these numbers start off very small and they get bigger near the tail end, and they go really quite high. And you can see that if you turn that into the shape of a graph, and you can see that big spike there. So where we were talking about 90% finishing in 5 minutes, and the 99th centile, it's actually 25 minutes, which is a massive step up there. And so our objective within the performance team now is to look at that last 5 centiles from 95 to 99, well, 95 to 100%, where things really spike up. Now, these are repositories that are massive. They're mono repos or they're monoliths that have hundreds of commits a day into them. They might be using all sorts of different tools together at the same time, because obviously the larger the repo, the more likely you are to be having more of a mix of languages of CSS and HTML and Markdown and TypeScript and. And just by looking at these numbers and starting to question, what's going on right at that top end, we've already been able to make a few insights and make a few very small tweaks that have had a disproportionate impact. So there were some tools that were doing metrics as well as detecting issues, where we've turned the metrics piece off because we weren't using them. So that has saved a whole chunk of time. And then we've started blacklisting specific files like minified JavaScript, which has 2 problems with it. So one is it's a massive file that's a duplicate of all of your existing JavaScript, and you'd be much better served actually seeing the issues in the source code. And secondly, of course, minified JavaScript is all on one line, so we would give you every single issue we found on the same line in that minified JavaScript file, which is not that helpful. So by taking out not just minified JavaScript, but vendor directories, third-party libraries, and so on, then that has already let us trim 20% off the execution time for some of the biggest repositories in Codacy. And remember, when we're talking about things that are taking at least 25 minutes, in this instance, it's a 40-minute execution that's gone from 48 minutes down to 40. Now, that's already massive, and that's a long way from where we want to be performance-wise. But it just shows that even having started this process and taking the first few steps, that we're already having a major impact here. So that's on performance, and now here's a little roundup of everything else we've been doing. So for existing customers, you won't have noticed, but our onboarding experience, if you are coming into the program completely new, is more even smoother and even more streamlined than it's already been. We're helping guide our new customers through what Codacy is as they add organizations and repositories for the first time, much better than we ever have done. So there's that. We've got a list within a list here of internal improvements. So we were having a little bit of trouble counting seat counts for our active pro billing customers, which we've deduplicated things better. That's because of the Git providers sending us different email addresses for the same person, the commit and so on. Anyway, we've sorted that out now. We've switched to Zendesk from Intercom, which is going to let us serve you better in terms of the support we're able to offer through our in-app support widget. And we have this What's New tab, which is what you can see in the animation there. So we are trying harder to tell you about all the great stuff we do in Codacy. So now when you visit the Codacy application, then up there you'll always see what we've been up to on a more regular basis instead of having to wait for this quarterly showcase event or finding an email from us. Two final things here as well, which are slightly bigger, is that we have finally released the first version of our IntelliJ IDE extension. So it's with parity to the first version of the VS Code, one that we launched several months ago now. So you can see here, if you've seen the VS Code one, then this one looks very, very similar. Then you've got your problems window around the bottom. With all of the issues appearing there, just as if you'd get syntax errors or compilation errors or whatever appearing in the same place. And then up in the sidebar, then you can see all the information about the current pull request that you're looking at. So is it up to standards? Is it not up to standards? Which is the key thing for actually meeting your gate policy. And then why it might have failed. So do you have issues? Do you have what's the coverage percentage? Do you have duplication or complexity issues there? That's all listed there now. So you can get that back into your IDE without having to go and visit even your Git provider. You can go and see that right in the IDE. And we will poll for that information as well. So once you've actually submitted the PR, then it will appear in your IDE when it's ready, rather than you having to refresh something or actually go and actively find it. So that's one of the larger new pieces. The other one is Backstage. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Backstage. Then Backstage is a application for doing DevOps orchestration. So developer portal, like it allows your developer experience teams to build things like self-serve, create a new repository or create a new project for your specific company. It's built by Spotify in the first place. And what we've done is we built a little integration with Codacy, which means that you can see this animation running here. Then, and we'll play it through again in a sec, I think. Basically, when you create a repository within Backstage, then you can orchestrate it such that it's automatically added to Codacy at the same time, which means that Codacy can become part of your golden path, paved road, depending on how you like to how to describe that. So when you are delivering new infrastructure to developers through this developer portal, then you get all of that integrated into Codacy for free. And it's out there now. It's in the Backstage plugins directory. Go ahead and get it. Again, first version. Any questions, comments, feedback, please give. Happy to iterate on this. There's a whole world of stuff that you can do in Backstage that we're probably not even scratching the surface of, but doing your provisioning for you onto Codacy in the first instance is a valuable step there. So that is a whistle-stop tour of everything going on in Codacy, apart from the security bit, which I'll hand over to Andre, who's going to give us a deep dive into all the capabilities of Codacy Security now, which will be super exciting to hear. So Andre, over to you.
Thank you, Kendrick. So we have a lot to cover today, and I'm going to start by recapping the security capabilities of Codacy and our progress over the last months, and then a brief demo of those capabilities. And after that, we'll deep dive into security reporting that we're announcing today with a demo as well. So recapping the capabilities that we announced last time. So Codacy Security is a toolbox of 7 different scanning techniques that help you ensure security and compliance of your code. And we believe that makes Codacy Security the best tool for your AppSec program. So we'll take a detailed look at each security technique. And we'll start by looking at the code from the inside out. So we have SAST security, static application security testing scans, allows you to check your code for vulnerabilities early in the development lifecycle, making it easier for developers to fix issues. And the issues found, as you know, can include stuff like SQL injection issues, insecure cryptography, broken authentication or authorization, all of which are featured in OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. And using SAST has 2 major disadvantages, unfortunately. Since it's applied early in the development lifecycle, it's more susceptible to false positives, and you need to ensure coverage for all languages and frameworks. So for Codacy, we only use rule-based code scanning. We don't use AI to ensure deterministic results and avoid the noisy results. We also partner with the best in the industry, like SamGraph, to bring you the best languages and issue coverage. Moving on to infrastructure as code. So this type of scanning identifies infrastructure misconfigurations, also early in the development lifecycle, making it easier for developers to tackle. At Codacy Security, we cover critical infrastructure issues such as unconfigured or misconfigured security settings, least privilege violations, insecure cryptography, and so on. So these issues are very important and prevalent. They can really pose a security risk. And even the NSA, the National Security Agency in the United States, has released several mitigation strategy guides. So it's like critical for the security of a nation. So it's also critical for you. Codacy just works to ensure coverage for all ecosystems and frameworks. And we also strive to reduce the number of false positives in these types of scans. Regarding secrets or hard-coded secret detection, we can start with a stat. Last year, about 140,000 AWS secrets were found on public GitHub repositories. And, to prevent that, Codacy's secret detection will allow you to detect those secrets in your codes before you leak them to public repositories, for example. Any type of secrets, hard-coded passwords, API keys, other credentials. With Codacy, you can enforce this check and get peace of mind that all your code is secured in that sense. Lastly, we have supply chain security. Basically, supply chain security tools just verify vulnerabilities associated with open source components by detecting publicly disclosed vulnerabilities that are contained within a project's dependencies. This scanning technique is critical in a paradigm where more than 60% of today's code in applications is imported through open source dependencies. And 80% of the vulnerabilities are exploitable through indirect dependencies. So again, becoming very critical. These 4 scanning techniques are available today in your Codacy account, no additional charge. Moving on to looking at code from the outside in. And we'll start with penetration testing. It's a manual security assessment method where certified experts just simulate cyber attacks to identify vulnerabilities. It allows for greater complexity of issues tested, and you'll get increased confidence in the results. And pen testing is very effective at finding and detecting SQL injection issues or cross-site request forgery issues, sensitive data exposure, but it can be very time-consuming and expensive to run. But as we mentioned last product showcase, pen testing scans are now available within Codacy Security, and that's where Codacy can really help you, since it performs most of the procurement process at affordable rates, so it does that heavy lifting for you. Moving on to DAST, or Dynamic Application Security Testing. It's similar to penetration testing. It runs automated tests to find vulnerabilities in web applications and APIs that are running. DAST just automates how a hacker would approach to breach your application, simulates real-world attacks, and in addition to uncovering vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, it can also alert of zero-day vulnerabilities. And we're currently working on making DAST scans available within Codacy Security as early as this summer. And we'll definitely share more details on the next product showcase. And finally, we have cloud security posture management. This technique ensures that you have secure cloud configurations. It identifies misconfigurations, compliance violations, potential risks in cloud environments. Just like the infrastructure as code scanning we mentioned earlier, but with real-time monitoring of your environments. And this is not yet available within Codacy Security. We're still doing research on how to support this use case. But to summarize, all the techniques that I talked about, scanning techniques, they're complementary. They work best in different stages of the development lifecycle. And that's where Codacy security helps you by running all of these scans at those different points and making sure that your code is safe and trustworthy. And now we can do a little demo of the issues that Codacy Security can find. So we're going to focus on a real life CVE. So this CVE is a server-side request forgery vulnerability in the Axios NPM package. So this, I mean, it's a vulnerability from 2020. It's not like as well known as Log4Shell, but it can be just as impactful. And the point is really that most CVEs don't get nearly as much attention as Log4Shell did, but they can be just as impactful to you and your applications. So again, this is a vulnerability in this Axios package, and it is vulnerable from version 0.19 to 0.21. And if we take a look at this demo project that we have here in VS Code, we can see, sorry, not this file, but this file. So I'm declaring a dependency on Axios, and it is an insecure and vulnerable dependency. And I also have this dependency on the library called Appian, which will be relevant. We'll see in a bit. After running a Codacy scan, like I open a pull request, I push my code, Codacy analyzes it. We get the results here in VS Code. We can go to the problems tab, and there is some issues here. Where is it? This one, yes. Okay, so our dependency, our direct dependency with version 0.21 is being flagged as an insecure dependency. It lists the CVE that I mentioned, and the fix is to update to a secure version, which is 0.21.1. But if we take a little bit of a deep dive into our package log file, we see that the Appian library that I mentioned is also depending on Axios. So we have an indirect dependency of another version of Axios. And this version, 0.19.1, is also vulnerable. And that's exactly the issue that Codacy catches here. It's the same issue, same description. Just to show you that we can just as easily find dependencies or find vulnerabilities on direct dependencies as indirect dependencies using the supply chain analysis that we discussed earlier. Also, by doing just a regular old SAST scan code analysis, we have an issue here that is actually the issue for the same CVE. It's just when we use the library, when we call a specific method that we know it's vulnerable or that our tools know it's vulnerable, we're going to flag that for you. And this is the same CVE underneath. So that's another way where we can catch the same issue. Furthermore, Codacy Security can also catch infrastructure as code issues and secrets issues, as we can see here. So this is a CloudFormation template file. You use this to automate deployment of resources to AWS. And well, some developer just forgot the AWS secret access key here. I mean, it can happen. That's why Codacy is here, so that we catch this in the development phase. We catch this in your pull request so that you never actually commit this to your main line of code. So yeah, we'll help you there. Regarding other security vulnerabilities, particularly vulnerabilities from OWASP top 10, for example, we can find SQL injection vulnerabilities as seen here. So this is just a method where we receive a parameter. We do not sanitize it in any way. We just add it to a query. That's dangerous, really. So Codacy will let you know that this is a potential vulnerability. And the same for cross-site scripting vulnerabilities that are also detected by Codacy Security. So this is just like an example of the types of issues that we can find. using all those techniques above, these are like relevant security potential vulnerabilities that are OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities or other types of vulnerabilities that can really impact you. And as usual, these, I'm showing this in VS Code, but these issues can be found in the issues panel of your repository. I mean, you've seen this many times before. It's just the same issues. Now let's take a look at how you can monitor the security performance of your organization, right? You have all these issues, they're being detected, but is there a way that you can get like an aggregate view of what's happening for your organization security-wise? And that's what we're going to show. And that's you can do that with the start of today's showcase, the new AppSec dashboard. Really ties the room together for all the 7 scan types. And, this was the #1 problem that we've heard from you, having single pane visibility of your AppSec program. And with this dashboard, you'll be able to unlock lots of insights for your organization that were previously inaccessible from Codacy. So for example, you can understand if the current state of the security in your organization is good or bad. You can understand how the security posture progresses over time. You can find and prioritize the problematic areas or types of vulnerabilities to be tackled. You can also report the status and progress to your stakeholders, for example. So there are 2 sections to this page. You have the overview tab, and you also have the findings tab where you can go over each of the security issues in detail. So let's take a look. So here at the top, you get a glance of how your organization is doing. You have the total number of open security findings, the number of critical findings, the number of findings that are breaching the SLA, that are overdue or that are due soon. You can also take a look at the distribution of the security findings by scan type or by severity or by status, which we'll see later. And the charts really give you the sense of progression over time. So the charts on the left with all the nice colors will tell you how many open security findings per severity you have on a per week basis. And on the right, it's more or less the same information, but you also get the number of open security issues, so security findings and closed security findings. So to see like your progression over week over week. On the bottom, you can use these 2 tables to help you prioritize. So here you can see the high-risk repositories based on the open findings that they have by security. So probably you should tackle those first, especially if they're critical components of your system, or you can check how many open findings you have per security category. That can also give you an idea of the type of vulnerabilities that you're exposed to right now. On the top, you have a filter you can use to select the repositories to focus on. Maybe the repositories that you're working more often right now are the ones that you should also prioritize. And on the top right, you have some controls that were there before. We just organized them a little bit better. You have the copy URL button. It will copy the URL, including the filter, so that you can share with your coworkers or stakeholders. And you have the findings tab, as I mentioned earlier, where you can drill down into the findings details. It's like a table with all the security findings. You can drill down, you can see the details, you can sort them in some other ways and use the filters on top in ways that are not available in the dashboard. So I'm going to do, this will be available at the end of April. We're finalizing the development, and we'll, of course, send out a newsletter or email or even communicate in that little area of the product that Kendrick demoed earlier. But right now we're going to demo the dashboard itself. So before we move in and see the new dashboard, I want you to see the old dashboards in case you never saw it before, just so that you understand like where we were, what we focused on for the beta version, like how we have evolved that dashboard. So this first version, we focused on surfacing a snapshot of the current security state in a very basic manner. And we also enable you to go over the details of each issue in a table format. Like if you press here, if you want to review the open items, this will give you all the items in this table format. And of course, now you have the new one. It's like a bit different, more information. It's more, gives you a sense of progression over time. You didn't have that in before. It gives you help in prioritizing the areas that where you should tackle. So yeah, we think it's a cool improvement, and we're happy that we get to show you this today. And well, the dashboard itself is oriented towards engineering managers, security managers, or security engineers. The dashboard was not made to be a part of a developer's workflow. They don't need to visit it or use it in that manner. They should really use it as a complement. From time to time, they come here, they see the security state of the repositories they work on, but this is really to be used by, again, engineering managers, security engineers, and they will be the ones that will gather all this information and decide, okay, we need to prioritize tackling these issues or those issues and whatnot. Okay. Anyway, so those security issues that we found in VS Code, they were in the context of a PR. Ideally, they should never reach the code mainline. However, if that happens for some reason, this is where you get to see those issues, and I'll show them in a bit. So here we can see that we have 9 open findings, and 5 of them are critical. I just want to mention that this is dashboard is in a demo environment, so the data is not completely consistent because, again, it's a demo environment. And then here you do get the distribution of your issues, open issues, and then you can also change, instead of viewing the distribution by scan type, you can view it by security, you can view it by severity, sorry, and by status. Currently, they're all on track. And here you get the tooltip that will help you know exactly how many issues are here, and the same thing here. And yeah, it's pretty much it. Then when you go over to findings, you can see the issues in detail and the type of issue. For example, this is the one that we were seeing, where there's an insecure dependency that is Axios, and it tells you here that this is an issue of type insecure module libraries in the showcase repository. And if you click on it, you can see the details and tells you why is this an issue, where in the code is this issue. It's like the same, mostly the same as the issues that the panel that already exists, but there are some news here. So we do have pen testing issues here that can be identified by the pen testing label. Those issues, or these issues, they affect this target, which is app.pulse.dev.org, which is our current development environment for Pulse. And if you click on them, you also get a detail on why it's an issue, how you can fix it, and yeah, the target, effort to fix, and whatnot. So this is the only place, by the way, where you can see pen testing issues. It's on this dashboard and on this table. And to help you find the issues that you're looking for, you also have more filters that you already had in the previous table. They're here as well to help you find issues. And anyway, I just want to talk a bit more in depth about penetration testing and why you should do penetration testing and what do we offer at Codacy to help you with this. So why should you do penetration testing? Well, it helps you discover flaws before a hacker does, helps reduce your attack surface. It helps address vendor due diligence exercises. It helps you prevent data breaches. It helps ensure service availability to prevent revenue loss, meets legal and compliance requirements, and maintains customer loyalty and brand reputation. And by pen testing with Codacy, what do you get? Well, you get certified and highly skilled testers. You get a fast turnaround time on reports. You get flexible scheduling to help you meet your deadlines and a very competitive cost and still a very high quality test. And pen testing is now available as an additional service to all business tier customers. And if you're interested in getting a quote, you can reach out to your CSM. Anyway, this is the demo for today. But before we move on, we do have a poll that we would like you to answer that Eloisa will be sending out via Zoom. And the poll is about what dashboard improvements would you like to see next?
All right, here are the results.
Okay, so it's pretty close, I'd say, between understanding how much of the code is protected and report customization based on several different things. And then a bit behind, not that much, is to calculate the ROI, return of investment, and then providing report templates like SOC 2 templates and stuff like that, producing a report so that you can give to auditors. Okay. Well, thank you for your answers and thank you for your time in following me along this demo. I'm gonna hand the presentation back to Kendrick. And thank you again.
Thank you very much, Andre. Love it. Yeah, so just a little roundup of what's next in Codacy. We've heard about security, of course, where we're doing so much already. That continues to be the theme, a theme for us for the year. So next up, we're looking at DAST. That's dynamic security testing, either run in CI or scheduled to run on your front end. So that we can better probe what stuff is actually going live on your site and give you feedback about that. Performance, I've mentioned already, we continue to have a team working on performance to just continue to optimize on that, and we continue to look at those long-running repos to try and bring that 95 to 100th centile analysis time down. On the user experience front, then we've already been working on onboarding, and we'll move further through that onboarding journey next. So we're working on both some things to make onboarding new users who are already part of an organization more nice when they later join Codacy, and also making the tools and patterns configuration more streamlined experience, both for initial users and to come back and tweak it later. And then finally, for our bigger enterprise customers, then we are starting looking at audit logging, which is a requirement for a lot of people from their security teams to us to make sure that they are able to evidence what's happened on Codacy when things go wrong with their Git provider. If they have a breach or something like that, they can come to us and see what's been happening on our side. So that's in planning now, and that will be part of that team's next target. So that's a little round of what we're doing next. And then I think that only leaves the Q&A. I've been trying to answer a few as we go along, but I see there's still plenty still open. So if anyone else has any other questions they'd like to add in, then now is the time. I was halfway through writing a response to Mike Watkins asking about IDE integrations and the potential roadmap of that. So rather than finish writing that, I'll answer live. So on WebStorm specifically, it may be that it works already. So we built the IntelliJ extension for the JetBrains extension for IntelliJ specifically, but it works on the entire JetBrains platform, so give it a go on WebStorm. We have focused on IntelliJ specifically because it seems like lots of other extensions in JetBrains land do sort of fight with each other a bit. So we've tuned it and gone through and just checked that it works nicely with IntelliJ. So you can try it on PyCharm, on PHPStorm, on WebStorm. And if there are problems with it, do feedback to us because then we can have a crack at in making sure it is working for more different items on that platform. Again, in terms of others on the roadmap, so WebStorm, the other JetBrains ones, yes, we'd love to cover those. Between VS Code and JetBrains, I think they cover something like 90% of what developers use on a day-to-day basis. And then Eclipse is in third, and then Visual Studio behind that. So right now, we'll be focusing on increasing the capabilities of the two extensions that we've got, making sure we can do more exciting things in those than going out to do the same thing over again in yet another extension. Extension. You'd like to think the Visual Studio was somehow related to VS Code, and you could reuse something in between, but it's not, and you can't. So that's a shame. And this neatly ties into Michael Chen's question about doing secret detection in the PR, which I wrote a response up to that a little while ago, about whether detecting in the PR is too late, which is, I think, both true and false. Like, it is the last place that you could check to make sure that they don't get into your main application. So I think it is necessary that one checks there. Obviously, it'd be ideal to check for secrets at all stages in that development process. And in fact, it would be lovely to do that in the IDE with the IDE extensions that we've got. And I would love to bring you that functionality. And if we go off and develop a Visual Studio extension or a or an Eclipse extension, then that's going to compromise that. So I would love for us to do more interesting things with our IDE extension that is getting closer to that instantaneous feedback goal. But for now, being able to make sure that secrets are at least not getting committed to main and having visibility in the SRM dashboard so that you can mitigate when a secret is detected is valuable. And also, when you add Codacy to an existing project, which is a very, very common use case, then you will see all the secrets that are there already that you need to go and do something with, which is also super useful. So I'm going to mark that as answered live. What else have we got? Are all the tools in Codacy available for the same plan type, or do I have to buy each separately? Everything, all the static analysis tools that we run in Codacy are all available right there. Most of them we run on our own cloud engine, so you don't even have to download and configure them yourselves. There's a couple, I think, for C and for Go right now that are what we call client-side tools, which you need to run in your CI and then send us the results. But our dream is that we do it all for you, and so you don't have to do that, and it's all in one place. We are a toolbox, not just the tool. The next one I can see is, Andre, do you want to answer the pen testing results one, since you're typing an answer already?
Yeah, I can do it. So it really depends on how much you want to test, how many apps you have to test. I'm not entirely familiar with like how many days of testing that you get with the standard offering or whatnot, but it really depends on how many apps, how many things you want to test. Let's say that from what I've seen, the regular web app like Codacy or like Pulse, it takes about a week to test after it's scheduled, like 3, 4, 5 days. And then to get the results back, well, I'm not really sure how long it takes for them to compile a list of results, but it shouldn't take too long after that. Let's say another week tops. So after it's scheduled, about 2 weeks for you to get the results back, I think. But it really depends on like what you want to test. So it's hard to give a good answer.
Yeah, and our the penetration testing offering goes as far as that goes beyond just necessarily doing your web app. We can do your mobile apps, we can do your API, we can do red teaming, all sorts of things. So if you're interested in what you need from a like manual security review perspective, get in touch, and we can certainly do something for you, and we can bring the results into your Codacy application for you as well.
The next question about Android or pen testing Android or iOS apps. As far as I know, yes, it is possible. Kendrick, can you confirm this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it speaks to the second part of the question as well, which is, do we only have automated penetration testing? No, this is actual humans who are actual security specialists actually taking a scoping document, understanding what you're what you already do in terms of security, what they might be able to leverage, and then actually spending time trying to find vulnerabilities in your application. So it's not automated. They may use some automated tools like Metasploit to try and find ways in, but fundamentally it's human driven. So you're going to get a more than you can get out of an automated scan here. And then Mike has come back with a response. That's good. No luck on WebStorm. Okay, so great. Thank you for trying it, Mike. Yeah, do let us know what version you're on, what other plugins you have going on at the same time. If there's any error messaging or anything that gets spat out, then yeah, do let us know, and then we can take a look at it, because we would like it to be working across the JetBrains ecosystem if we can. So yeah, get in touch, please.
Hey, are these all the questions? Are they all answered?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Yeah, we've had quite a few questions today. So thank you so much, yeah, for all your curiosity and for interacting with us. We can go for just one last announcement before we leave, which is regarding, what's coming up next, some of our upcoming events in case you're interested. I'm gonna drop some links in the chat here, but basically we have a fireside chat coming up on Bright Talk. May 14th is the date, and we're going to discuss tool consolidation. So what are the challenges of today's software development toolscape? What's essential to have in your software development toolbox, and how can you reach a consensus within your team? So many questions we want to address. It's not open for registration just yet, but as soon as it opens, we'll make sure to post it on our social media. So make sure you follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. So you can save your spot. Oh, sorry, hold on.
Sorry.
Can we go back?
Yeah.
Just a couple more events. If you're in Berlin, if you happen to be in Berlin, come meet the team at We Are Developers World Congress. It's happening July 18 and 19. It's the largest European conference for developers. So you can book some time with us. Let me just share this in the chat. You can go into one of these links, the first one, and book a coffee time with our team. So that way we know that we're going to meet you there. And yeah, the next product showcase that we're going to do is in July. So you can already save your spot through the link as well in the chat, just to make sure it's in your calendar and you don't miss it. We'd love to see you there next time as well. And yeah, thank you again for joining us. If we hope to have answered your questions. If you still have any questions left, don't hesitate to get in touch. We'll actually have a survey pop up here at the end of this where you can tell us if you want to be contacted. So that way we'll make sure to reach out to you directly. And yeah, hope to see you at the next product showcase. Thank you, Jaime and Andre and Kendrick, for the wonderful presentation. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining.